Hey everybody, welcome to yet another video, and in today's video I'm going to be focusing on showing you how can you evaluate your competition for your benefit. And I believe this is going to be very insightful for you because I'm going to share with you 10 parameters for you to consider. So make sure that you watch this video right till the end. Make sure you hit the subscribe button so you get access to all my videos, and make sure at the end of the video you like the video, you comment, and you share this video with as many entrepreneurs as possible. So let me first talk about competition. You know, for entrepreneurs, especially small and medium entrepreneurs, when you use the word competition, you usually expect resistance. People get scared of that word. And I find that funny because whether you like it or not, there is going to be competition. And however new or unique you think your product or service is, at the end of the day, the bottom line is that it comes or stems from something which is already existing. Every invention, every innovation ultimately comes from something which is already there. That's how the world is working right now. And even if you are first in the race, someone or the other is going to catch up really soon, which basically means that there is going to be competition. I come from the school of thought that no matter how much competition is there is enough for everybody. The marketplace is pretty big, and rather than trying to capture market share, I think what's more important is to play the value game. So don't play the market game, play the value game. Don't try to beat your competition by capturing customers and seeing how much of the customers can you get. Try to beat your competition by adding more value to your customers so that your customers automatically gravitate towards you. I think that's more important of an approach rather than trying to say, what can I do differently all the time? I don't want to do what my competition is doing. It's not going to work. You're going to run out of ideas at the end of the day. So I'm going to share with you certain questions to ask. In fact, precisely 10 questions which I think you're going to ask yourself, which will help you to really differentiate yourself from your competition and add more value to your customers. So here goes. The first question to ask is your competition targeting the same customer as you? And I think that's very critical for you to answer, because you may have a similar customer, but the profile of the customer can be different. For example, let's just say you are focusing on small and medium business owners who probably have employees who are less than 50, and your competition may be targeting business owners whose employees may be more than 200. They both may be business owners, but the profile is a little different. So it's important to really understand whether your competition, when you're evaluating them, is actually targeting the same customer or not. The second most obvious question for you to evaluate is that, do they have the same product or service offering like you? Because here's what I have experienced. There are lots of people who are probably in the same business, but when you go down to the bottom line, even though they probably have similar products and services, actually not really similar. That's actually different. It's offering a different value proposition. It's adding different kind of value, because every entrepreneur has their own style, every entrepreneur has their own value system, and every entrepreneur has their own capability which they bring on the table. So there is a slight differentiator. So understand, is it the same product or service? What is the difference in the product or service, so you know exactly where you stand in comparison to your competition? Question number 3. Now that you've understood the customer and you've understood the product and service, how are you exactly different in these two parameters? Because understanding this will help you to evaluate and uncover how can you add more value and play that value game to be different from your competition. And let me also be precise, when I'm talking about different, I'm not talking about doing something dramatically different. I'm talking about adding more value. That's the point I'm trying to make. Don't try to do something different. Try to add more value, and that will make you different anyway. So how can you be different when it comes to your customer and product and service to add more value? That's the third question you're focusing on. The fourth question I wanted to focus on is that how are you different when it comes to pricing? Because obviously the way a customer sees you and evaluates the value you're going to add will be dependent on the pricing. Now, I'm not saying it needs to be cheaper. That's not what I'm trying to say. It can be even more expensive, because at the end of the day, even more expensive will give you more value. Think about it. You compare a Honda City to a Mercedes Benz. They're ultimately both cars. They solve the same problem. They ultimately provide the same function. But the price ranges are completely different. So they're not even competition. They're in a different league altogether. So what I'm trying to say is that it's not about going into a lesser price. It's about making sure that the price justifies the value you're trying to add. So actually evaluate, how is your pricing different, and how is the value you are providing compared to the price also different compared to your competition. And that will give you a lot of insights as to how can you really beat your competition. Another question which I want you to answer, question number 5, is that how is your credibility different? Because I'm sure you'll all agree with me that the credibility you hold will have a lot of influence on how people buy from you. Because credibility which is what will lead to confidence, which is what will lead to trust, and eventually lead to the buying process. So how are you different when it comes to the credibility you have in front of your customer? What I also want you to evaluate, which is honestly question number 6, is how is your delivery, your service delivery, your product delivery, and your servicing different for your customer? Because one part of the entire buying process is the product and service. The other part of the buying process is how you're going to deliver it to your customer. And that experience is a great potential for you to be different by adding more value. So how is your delivery process different? How are you ensuring that the product and service reaches the customer in the first place? And how is it different compared to your competition? Question number 7. How is your marketing approach different? Is it more magnetic? Does it give you more visibility? Does it help you to stand out more? That is another area where you can add more value to your customer by being more visible through magnetic marketing. So that's another useful question for you to answer. Question number 8. Do you have a better ability to build relationships, to build an ecosystem for your customers to continue engaging with you so you can build loyal patrons in comparison to a customer, in comparison to your competition? I feel a lot of players in the market lose out this, where they try to build relationships but they don't build an ecosystem which allows their customers to engage with them constantly, so they become loyal patrons and have repeat purchase. So how can you build an ecosystem which can engage your customer far more better than your competition is another area for you to deep dive into. Question number 9. How is your track record, your results different from your customer? And what can you do differently over there to provide better results or showcase your track record? Because at the end of the day, let's face it, value is determined by the results you produce. And the bigger the track record, the more valuable you are. So what can you do differently to showcase that, so that it really gets your customers to trust you more and to look at you as someone who's better off and more valuable than your competition? So that's another area for you to evaluate. And finally, the last question for you to evaluate. How is your business performance different than your competition? What can you do differently to up your business performance? Because the overall business performance reveals a lot about how much value you're adding to a customer and how well your company is growing. Because the more you're growing, the better your business performance just shows that your customers are obviously happy, and that's why you're getting more customers. So I really believe these 10 questions which I've shared with you can really help you to do a lot more research, to analyze your competition, to play the value game rather than the market share game. And obviously these 10 questions give you a framework and a direction for you to think in. But what you got to do is to go deeper into these 10 questions and really understand what is your value proposition, what's the differentiator, and how can you add more value. So if you found this video useful, number 1, please go out there and take action and start evaluating your competition to add more value rather than going away. 2, make sure you subscribe to my channel so that you get access to a lot more videos from me, and make sure you like, you comment, and you share this video with as many entrepreneurs as possible so they gain value too. In the meanwhile, I want you to stay safe, and I'm going to see you in my next video.